Well, it's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with the Ombudsman of this day, and Arise Media Group and This Day newspaper Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe. Good morning, Mr. KK.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us on our Sunday morning tonic program.
Good
Tonic
Pleased
program.
to be
That was Steve's Sunday tonic.
Pleased to be here.
Thank you, KK. Let's go into it. We'll start with This Day on Sunday, and let's take it from top to bottom. The window story says, shareholders to reap 671.45 billion naira dividend from Dangote Cement, Bua, Lafarge, Transcorp Power, and 3 others. That story is on page 5. It's an important story, and I think it's kind of a story that gives hope to investors, particularly Nigerians, who are buying shares in all these companies that are obviously doing well. And under that, FAC disburses 1.678 trillion naira to federal government, states, local governments for February. That's a page 6 story. It has maintained, I think the distribution of the FAC payments, has maintained a kind of, the same tone. A lot of money, more money going to state and local government administrations, which of course reinforces the charge that people are saying that don't just hold the federal government responsible, also ask your governors and your local government chairmen what they are doing with the more money that they keep getting. Besides the first picture, my relationship with Wike cause of gang up against me, says Anyanwu. That's the factional secretary general, or is it the general secretary of the PDP? The case went to Supreme Court. There's a judgment, but it looks like everybody is still giving opinion and interpretation as to who does the judgment actually pays. Is it Anyanwu or is it Ude Okoye? The parties, itself has spoken, and I think Sunday Telegraph also captures it on the cover of the page. But here these days saying, quoting Anyanwu, that it's because I'm close to former Governor Wike, the Minister of the SCT, that there seems to be a gang up against me, particularly from the party, the other side of the party, and the PDP governors. Now the lead story itself, which is an important contribution to the discourse that practically the entire country and beyond is dealing with. Rivers, the kicker says, Jonathan accuses executive, legislature, judiciary of abuse of office. Ibas vows to complete Rivers Assembly Complex project. Pandev condemns state of emergency, says it's a betrayal. I think that, and KK, I know that you will do justice to it. Former President Jonathan did say at the event where he made this intervention that usually if people look all over the world, former presidents rarely give talks and make interventions about their successors so as not to create confusion. And he used the example of the United States where former president hardly comment about what the other one is doing. But given what is happening, and I believe that given the fact that he also played a role in 2013 when he similarly declared a state of emergency, but without removing governors in 3 states of the Federation, not 1, 3 states of the Federation at that time. And he did say that a lot of people have been asking him, what are your thoughts on what is happening in Rivers? I find his submission very profound, not sparing any arm of government. Absolutely. I also found very illuminating the fact that he used an Indian proverb to say that it is the person who is sleeping that you can wake up. You can wake up a man who pretends to be sleeping. I found it interesting that President Jonathan attributed that to an Indian proverb. India has that proverb, in their domain too, but the Yorubas also have, that proverb. I'm sure, KK, that you will know. Okay. The way it is said is that eni tosun laji akiji apiroro. Akiji
What does it mean?
Admiroro. It is the man who it is the person who is sleeping that you can wake up.
Yes,
but if you are pretending to
not a pretender.
Exactly, not a pretender, which is that's a profound wisdom in what he has said. And well, I'll leave that to KK to unbundle, and unpack what is in it for us. Just also to add that for anybody picking today's copy of This Day to strengthen the cover story, they will find very interesting the three, at the back page of This Day, the three opinion articles, all of them by former editors of the paper of This Day. Simon Kolawole, distinguished, brilliant guys. Simon Kolawole, he says, ladies and gentlemen, it is all politics. Waziri Adio.
And by the way, that's the title of a book.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Waziri Adio, fantastic wordsmith. It says trends and emergency rule in Nigeria's Fourth Republic. And I believe just to balance it up, we also have Tunde Rahman, also a former editor of the Sunday This Day, who now works for the president. It says the imperative of emergency rule in Rivers State. Three diverse but brilliant opinions, that will enrich the reader, just to have different perspectives of what is happening in Rivers State.
Thank you for that, Steve. That was good.
KK. Yeah, thank you, Steve. Perhaps we should start with the photographs.
Yes.
Okay, first, the two photographs are actually about celebrations. The upper one is a photograph taken from the convocation ceremony, the 37th convocation ceremony of University of Calabar, and also the occasion is also used to celebrate the golden jubilee of the university. So maybe may I be permitted to say congratulations to my alma mater, because I'm also a Malabite.
The great Malabite.
And all the Malabites, the two Malabites who have been given awards, doctorate awards by the university, namely the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, and the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu. Congratulations to UNICA and to all the Malabites all over the world.
Is Wiki not in the picture there?
Yeah, Wiki is there, yes. Wiki is there,
When you find the Senate President.
Is that?
When you find the Senate President and Wiki together in the same picture.
And also...
It's a kind of picture.
And also, congratulations to Mrs. Cecilia Ibro. That's the second photograph, of a celebration of a book presented, in our honor. Now, perhaps we should just quickly take the economic stories before we come to the main issue. First, I think it's good news for the shareholders of Dangote Cement, BOA, Lafarge, Transcorp Power, and the other three companies. And just to buttress the point which Steve was making, this is a point, to say that, we should, despite the difficult economic environment, which both experts and non-experts, have been talking about, you still have Nigerian investors, who are still, making a success, of their business. A success of their business activities, and that should reinforce the call, for a rethink, in government, policy. Yes, every now and then, you think that, when you talk of government policy, you talk of foreign, attracting foreign investment, try to make the economy to be very attractive, to a foreign investor. Good point. But I even think that a greater energy should be that to make the economy, conducive, for, indigenous investors. Because as I said, and the shareholders who are benefiting now, they are benefiting because these are companies that are successful, operating within the Nigerian difficult economic environment, So this should reinforce that call that the Nigerian investors, should be encouraged, by a combination of policies, and also making the environment, conducive for good business. So it's good news for them. Mm-hmm. The other point too is about the increase in, the disbursement, from the federation account, to the 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local governments, Now, again, this huge amount, it's good news for all the states, all the 3 tiers of government, and again, it should also make us to look at to the other side of the story. Yes, a critique of President Tinubu economic policy, making that the macroeconomic economic policies, that the impact, especially on the poor, that have been felt, and that the sacrifice that has been made. Yeah. But one part of it, on the positive note, is this: that all the 3 tiers of government now have more money. Yes. Because this amount, 1.678 trillion, it's a lot of money. Yeah. Even with the devaluation of Naira, yes, if you convert it to dollar, it's still a huge amount of money, And that is why I will strengthen, I agree with what Steve is saying, that it should now make us to demand delivery, performance, from all the 3 arms of government, in the federal government, the state government, and the local government, because now you cannot say that, that you don't have resources, that is, and it should also be noted that this is in addition to the internally generated revenues, which each tier of government is supposed to make, what I'm saying is that what is coming from PAC, should be in addition to what the local governments as well as the state government should generate, So that is on a positive note.
Let's go to the lead story so we can quickly take this day style. I know you want to talk about the lead story really quickly.
Okay. Yes. The lead story, I think, when President Jonathan talks, as a former president and a statesman in his own right, he should be listened to, especially that characteristically he doesn't talk often, And the preface he made to his speech, which he colloquium by Aske Satumari Foundation, on equity, inclusion, and diversity. The preface also should be noted that it is not often that you hear former presidents, talking. So when they talk, when they make a statement, it should be a very weighty one, and that is the one he has also made, in this response. And the other thing that I think we should also note is that if you look at the way he has also made his announcement, very measured. That is, very in a very, restrained manner, even though the criticism is scathing. The only point, which I think perhaps may not, be good enough is that, yes, it's a statesman, it's a politician, yes, it will make, a political critique, of the politicians in the National Assembly, in the Senate, and also the executive, And by the way, when you're talking about the executive, I imagine that it's not just talking of the executive at the federal level, also at the state level, because we are talking of River State here, So the issues there is not just about the role, the federal executive, the role of the federal government alone, but also the role of the River State government of Governor Fubara. But I think it may not be proper, for a former president to refer to the Nigerian judiciary as compromised.
Wow.
Yes, the rules are there. Whether a former president or anybody, if you have any case against any judge, the system is in place. The National Judicial Council, you can make you can petition, that particular judge and make the complaint, and the record is there. Since 1999, a number of judges have been disciplined. Judges have been dismissed. Some of them have been downgraded. But to say, for a former president to refer to the judiciary of his country as compromised, one, it is not fair to judges who are good. Because you cannot say that all Nigerian judges are corrupt. There are corrupt judges in the bench, just as you have corrupt one, depending on you have it. So it is not fair when you have this kind of blanket judgment, especially on the judiciary, and especially coming from a former president. But all the same, I agree that it's a very witty statement, he has made, and all the three arms of government, he has spoken to, should listen, and have a rethink, on
Mr. Komolafe, while I agree with you on the statement of the judiciary, I know that you're very protective of the judiciary. I mean, they are the arm of our society that we should hold to account, but it's no hidden secret that this declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State contravenes the Constitution as it pertains to Section 305 There's no hidden secret. It's everywhere. It's not an opinion. Okay, hold on. It's not an opinion, Steve Ayorinde. In any case, what came out of this whole conversation for me was that the NGF is staying silent. They're saying that they are not going to make any, statements on it because they don't want to seem to be taking any position, which I think is quite, alarming, because what if it happens to another state governor? What if it happens in the future again?
What is the point?
What do you mean, what's the point? I'm talking about somebody removing...
You're talking about the governor's room.
I'm talking about the governor's room.
Yes, yeah.
What if it happens to another governor being suspended or being removed because of a declaration of a state of emergency?
Has just said with regards to whether or not it is an opinion or not. If you remember the conversation we had yesterday with the SAN, what he established, Owonikoko, when he came in, he did establish that Section 305 exists. He made that point very clear. But and the fact that, yes, the president can pull on that section. But with regards to highlighting the issues that pertain to the section pulling that that pertain to the president pulling that section of the Constitution, he didn't speak much to the evidences, nor did he speak much to whether or not the peculiarities of this situation warranted the president to pick on that section. He did explain this section in detail and what the House, what percentage of the House plays a role in cementing that rule if the governor does pull it, which is why across board, from the NBA, National Bar Association, to several analysts and politicians, it's been established that looking at the peculiarities, unless another evidence comes out to disprove, that section of the Constitution that the president did pick out was picked out in an anomaly, and it should not have been the case, which is why it is not an opinion
Kachi, on the contrary, KK, on the contrary, Owonikoko SAN was very clear in his analysis yesterday.
Did he bring out evidences as to what could have led to the state of emergency that the president
That's not his job to do.
Hold on. He didn't do that. So he cannot say the president did something right if he cannot prove why the president did it.
Okay, so I'm just saying that in attributing to him, let's quote him correctly. And it was clear that all constitutional requirements were fulfilled in the president having the power to declare a state of emergency. In the state of emergency declaration, now the burden now goes to the National Assembly because their concurrence was needed, and he addressed it. Just hold on. And it was clear that they gave what was necessary.
Was necessary?
And that the only opening for lawyers and for other interested parties or stakeholders will now be to go to court to see if they could prove that quorum was not formed at the National Assembly.
So he did not establish that it was meant to be pulled. He just established that it was done properly.
He wanted to say something.
Can I just say something? Yes, because I'm supposed to review the newspaper. Exactly. Not just to listen to you. Now, just quickly, Yes, Oji, what Steve said, I think is right. You said your own view is clear that it's unconstitutional. That is an opinion, and a very legitimate one at that. But also, please concede that there are also other legitimate opinions which are also being opposed to that. And that is why the thing to do about this issue from all the sides is that it is necessary to take this matter let it get to the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
So that there will be an interpretation, exactly, a pronouncement, so that it will not become, part of our law.
The Constitution
not one side, imposing its own view to the other, and then dismissing the other.
At this table, nobody's taking any side. Yeah. The Constitution is clear. What we are against is the collapse of democracy, as we have established on the show several times. Let's move over to This Day Style. And the cover picture is Oluwatoyin Sakirat Madein, Life After Service. And I think it is quite befitting that she is covering This Day Style, given that it is Women's Month. I love her green regalia. Kachi, I'm sure that you know that this might be a T.Y. Bello photo shoot. It looks really, really beautiful. And the editor's note there, it says, it's not every day that you sit down with a woman who has quietly but powerfully shaped the financial backbone of an entire nation. But Dr. Oluwatoyin Madein, the just retired Accountant General of the Federation, is no ordinary woman. In fact, she's a legend in her own right, the kind of public servant who worked with grace, grit, and an unwavering moral compass, leaving a blueprint for excellence in financial governance. Amazing, really beautiful to see. Congratulations to her. I mean, we have amazing women doing great things in Nigeria. Kudos.
Absolutely, and just something that she said as part of her interview, as a major quote, she says, don't be afraid to ask, identify someone you admire, and this is of course an advice to people, and respectfully reach out. Once you have a mentor, be open to feedback and keep them updated on your progress. Find and mentor others too, no matter where you are on your journey. That's chain of support is powerful with regards to speaking to other women and helping other women attain the level of greatness that she has. And you're absolutely correct about the picture. It's just stunning. It's
really stunning.
Absolutely divine. 32 years. Okay, let's move to the Sunday Vanguard. Yes, let's do that. Okay, we're going to begin with a coalition conversation. Coalition against president. PDP gives condition to back Atiku, Peter Obi, El Rufai, and others. That's on page 6 of the Sunday Vanguard, and we move to the major story, just what we were discussing between Tinubu and Wike. And I think sometimes when we see these headlines, they kind of couch what the main issues are. With the Sunday Vanguard saying it's really Tinubu, Wike, the 2027 problems that caused Fubara's suspension. You can find that on page 2. A source saying the suspended governor tired of the FCT minister's troubles and wanted to resign, relocate to another South state. Of course, what Jonathan said, no country can succeed under a dictatorial regime. Amongst other things, the Governors Forum saying we can't speak, our hands are tied. What does that even mean? You know, what does that mean? How are the hands tied? Are the hands tied in terms of actually speaking truth to power, or in terms of the fact that there are too many factors involved in this that make this issue too subjective? And then what does that point to? Does that speak to respect for authority, or just keeping quiet because you just don't want to get in trouble?
You're putting KK on the spot.
Exactly.
No, me? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I don't know.
The Nigerian Governors Forum, basically. There's silence on the matter. What do you think of that?
Yes, I think it is a wise position to take. You know, the governors belong to different political parties. Governor Fubara, you know, that is the if you say the victim in this occasion, that is a member of the People's Democratic Party. You know, there are other governors who are members of APC, Labour Party, APGA. You know, yeah. So exactly. So their position is that if you, for instance, if the governor, I mean, for instance, you know, the chairman of the Governors Forum is the APC governor. That's the governor of Kwara State. You know, now. You don't expect the governor of Kwara State to sign a statement, you know, that will appear to be adversarial, you know, to the government in Senate. I mean, it's politics, you know. But at the same time, you don't also expect the other governor to also say that Ukla and Sinka they endorse the suspension of one of their members. So I think it's a wise position.
I wish we had more time, Mr. Komolafe. Really, I really enjoyed this segment. At the end of the day, like Simon Kolawole said, It's all politics. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for joining
That
us
is the title
on
of his book.
newspaper,
It's
newspaper
politics.
review this morning. Thank you very much.
Pleasure
indeed.
to be here.